Annie here. I've been marketing preschools and children's programs for over 15 years. Today, I'm here to give you my inside tips and scoop on how to find the best preschool for your child. Recently, I went through the process myself, and I figured why not share the insider knowledge that I have coming from a marketing background, as well as experience working in operations in a preschool with you. Let's dive right into the 10 steps that I took to find the best school for my child. I wanted to introduce you to my daughter Ava, who's featured here in this video. She recently started in her preschool a few months ago and is loving it. Now let's dive right into the 10 steps that I took to choose the best preschool for my daughter. The first step I took a little while because I had to talk with my partner about figuring out what were our must-haves and preferences for finding a preschool. The way I went about this was to create a spreadsheet to outline what I wanted. I was able to list the important factors, marking which ones were preferences and which ones were must-haves or non-negotiables. As you can see from a screenshot of my spreadsheet here, some of my must-haves included location, and that I wanted something walking distance that wasn't in a congested area, in case I did need to park sometimes to drop her off. I also wanted a school that had the flexibility of both part-time and full-time, in case I needed to change that based on where I was in my career. On this slide, you can see some of the areas that were just preferences but weren't must-haves. For example, I wanted a school where parents were involved. I also preferred a school where meals were provided so that I didn't have to pack lunch every day. And it turns out my daughter now is at a school which has all meals provided, and it really is a lifesaver. Some other things I wanted were preferring a school that didn't have too many closure dates for the holidays, winter, and spring break. As well, I really wanted a school that had a larger outside area, and if it didn't, for it to be within walking distance to a playground that the kids would go to. Now, this is my list of my must-haves and preferences, but yours could be different based on your family circumstance. Some other factors that you might want to consider are the school size. Some people want a smaller school. If you know that your child is going to be applying to private school instead of public school, you might want a school that supports you in the kindergarten application process. Some parents might also want a school that's more academic focused if they know that the kindergarten their child will be going to is really focused on literacy. Also, some parents might be interested in a smaller child to teacher ratio. I started my preschool search in the fall of the year prior to when I wanted my child to start preschool. Usually preschool tours do take place in the fall, and admissions decisions are made in the spring of the following year. The way I went about my online search was through this website, Winnie.com, which is a great site for finding childcare. I logged into Winnie by creating an account and searched for schools near my home that matched my must-haves. I used the categories that I had from the spreadsheet, and I used the site's filters. As you can see here, it's really easy to narrow down your search and to find schools that are near where you live on the Winnie website. The next step I took, step number 3, was to look up online reviews. There's 3 sites that I typically like to look up online reviews for schools. These include Winnie, Google Business, and Yelp. After looking up reviews, I added any important notes to my spreadsheet from things that I read that parents said about the schools. The next step, number 4, was to inquire about scheduling a tour and getting some more information from the school. I did this in one of 2 ways. On the Winnie platform, there's the option to request more information, and some schools will even update whether or not they have openings on the site. If I didn't hear back from Winnie, then I would just contact the schools directly through the phone number or email address on their website. I also added this information on my tracker, information on how to tour, the tour date scheduled, and whether or not I had applied to the school, as some schools will actually require you to apply before you're even able to attend a tour. In step number 5, I attended the tours. There's a few things that I did during the tours to help me figure out if the school would be a good fit for my child and for our family. The first was I talked to some other attendees to get their insights on other schools that they had visited so we could compare notes and share perspectives. As we were walking through the classrooms, I observed how the teachers were interacting with the kids as well as with each other and how engaged the students were, as well as the teachers. I also looked around the classrooms to see if there were plenty of visuals, letters on the walls, pictures, and student artwork. In addition, I checked the overall cleanliness of the building. After attending the tour, I went to step number 6, which was to write out my plus delta, things I liked and didn't like so much about each of the schools. I added this to my tracker on my spreadsheet so that I could keep organized. Once I narrowed down my top 1 to 2 schools, I went to step number 7, which was requesting a referral or a reference. I've learned from working in the marketing industry in preschools that the number one way parents select schools is by personal reference. So I approached finding a reference in one of 3 ways. The first one was I asked the schools that I toured if they could connect me with a current student or an alumni parent so that I could ask about their firsthand experience. If this approach didn't work, then I went onto Facebook and I joined local parenting groups and childcare groups in my area to search for posts about anyone who had written about the school so that I could ask them if I could interview them. When I did find a parent, I would message them to see if they'd be open to a quick chat, and luckily I was able to find a parent who was willing to talk to me. If I couldn't find any mentions of the schools that I was interested listed on these groups, I would just put in a post saying that I was considering between these schools and I'd love to see if parents had any feedback or thoughts if their children attended any of these schools. Now, if neither of these 2 first options work, another option is to start hanging out in the playground that's nearby to some of the schools that you're interested in. I did this just randomly, and I was able to meet a few parents whose kids actually attended the schools that I was interested in and was able to get their feedback about what they thought about the school. 2 questions that I found most helpful for asking current and former students was, what did you like the most about the school? What was so unique about it? And the second question was, what do you think the school could improve on or do differently? From the second question, I was really able to learn a lot of important information and get an insider scoop on whether or not the school would be a good fit for my child. Now, down to the finish line, the very last step. Now that I'd gathered all of this information from my online search, as well as touring the schools, as well as the references from other parents, I was able to make an informed decision about finding the best school for my daughter. And I'm happy to say, and I feel very relieved, that taking these extra steps was really helpful so that I was able to find the best school for my daughter where she is now thriving and she is loving it.
I like school.
Thanks so much for watching, and I hope this video was helpful for parents looking for guidance in their preschool search and for school administrators who are wanting to better market your programs to families by understanding the customer journey. Let's stay in touch, and if you'd like to learn more about my marketing services for children's educations program, check out the information below. Until next time.